Looking for something a little different, maybe a little bit more rustic than big city living? Well, then Cave Creek might just be the answer, and we're talking about it today, so stay tuned. All right, welcome back. I'm Michelle Miller with Michelle Miller AZ, and I am a luxury and lifestyle realtor here in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. And today we're talking about the town of Cave Creek. So let's not get this confused with another town that we have here called Queen Creek. Sometimes people get them mixed up, and there couldn't be more different. So Queen Creek is down in the Southeast Valley, and Cave Creek is the northern part of our valley. So it's just north of North Phoenix, and parts of it can run parallel to North Scottsdale. So I've had clients that have mistaken when I mentioned Cave Creek, thinking I was talking about the Southeast Valley, and like I said, they couldn't be more different. We are talking about Cave Creek, Arizona. All right, so let's talk about where it's located. So as I mentioned, it's on the northern end of our valley. It's in Maricopa County, and it picks up at where North Phoenix ends and then goes north, and then the northern part of Scottsdale does sort of sideline it. So, and Scottsdale does sort of jut in and out with Cave Creek. So the borders are a little bit confusing at times, but anyways, it's a very nice part of town to live in. It's very Western, and we'll kind of talk about a little bit of what makes it so charming. All right, and just based on the distance, if you're living in here, and like I said, it covers a large area, so it can start more southern, and then you can add maybe 10 more minutes to your drive if you're going to the airport if you live deeper into Cave Creek. So roughly I would plan it'd be about 45 minutes if you're way into Cave Creek to get to Sky Harbor Airport, and maybe 30 minutes or so to get to some of the eating areas like Kierland, which is sort of a centrally area, Kierland and Scottsdale Quarter, where there's a lot of dining and shopping. All right, a little history about the area. So, like I said, it is part of Maricopa County, but up in this area, it's like I said, it's real Western, has a real Western feel compared to the rest of our Phoenix, Scottsdale area. It was originally inhabited by two Native American groups, the Hohokams and then the Toronto Apaches. And then settlers came in around the 1800s, mid to late 1800s. And what drove them kind of here was gold mining was really big. And then there was a lot of ranching and sheep grazing out there. And then in 1986, actually, is when Cave Creek actually became incorporated. Kind of a little fun fact for you. So let's talk a little bit about housing up here. Cave Creek is very diverse. Luxury communities such as Bellissima or Amana Vista is sort of middle of the road, and then you'll have Sonoran Estates, which I have a whole nother video on, and that's a whole new group that just developed. So if you want to check out the videos and the homes in there, those are being developed. I think that's a Toll Brothers neighborhood, and those are running 2 to 3 million. So you can have stuff 2 to 3 million. There was a recent sale in the last 6 months that was 7 million. That had sat on a lot of land, and then usually a big estate house on that. And then you'll have homes that might fall into Tatum Ranch, has a Cave Creek address, and those you might find in the 500s. So like I said, a lot of variety, big estate homes, lots of land, to smaller parcels in Tatum Ranch with a little smaller price tag. Still $500,000 is not a small price tag, but relatively speaking, those are the more affordable homes in Cave Creek address. Okay, schools in this area, you're gonna fall into the Cave Creek School District, except some parts on the southern end where you might be sitting in the Deer Valley School District, so you just gotta watch it if your school district is really important to you. But you're gonna have Desert Willow Elementary, there's Desert Sun Elementary, there's Sonoran Trails Middle School, Horseshoe Trail Middle School, Cactus Shadows High School, but then Arizona is really known for having a lot of charter schools, so there are a smattering of charter schools in the vicinity as well if you don't really want to go the public school route. But Cave Creek does get you can look on the great schools ratings, but it generally falls in the A- category. They offer AP classes. They have the IB program, which if you want to start and try and get college credit early in the high school, and then they have regular honors. So there's a little bit of something for depending on how your child and how advanced they are in their schooling. My kids did go to the Cave Creek School District, so I do have experience with it. Our experience was nice. It was very different. My kids went to Catholic school when we lived in the Midwest, so it was just different. The schools are set up like almost like a small junior college campus. The kids wear a backpack and they walk from building to building, and they thought it was kind of neat instead of being in one building all the time, sitting in the same chair all day long. So that part, I think my kids enjoyed. Like at the middle school and the high school, they have spirit days and they do like barbecues and events in the quad. They have a quad, like all the buildings go around it. So that's kind of neat. It feels a little bit more grown up, you know, as you're getting into middle school and high school. It's kind of fun. All right, like every area I talk about, there are pros and there are cons. So the pros are Cave Creek is just a very different feel. It still has that Western vibe. You can find what were like old cantinas like Harold's. You can go see live bull riding at the Buffalo Chip. So they do have just, it's got like kind of a fun little, very Western vibe up there. But then if you want something that's more contemporary, there are newer neighborhoods that you can live in. I feel like it's the only part of our town anymore that's not homogenized. You don't see a Crate and Barrel or a Sephora or anything like that. It's just all little small shops with like rustic, a lot of them have rustic facades still. And I just think it's very charming. And people, when they come to visit, always kind of like to go up there and experience Cave Creek for, you know, what it does have to offer. Like I said, there's a lot of hiking and biking trails on here. There's a lot of rolling hills. You can buy big parcels of land if that's what you want, so that's nice. It has lower property taxes than Phoenix and Scottsdale, and it's just a little bit slower pace than living sort of in the hustle and bustle of being into more central Phoenix and Scottsdale. So if that's more your vibe, if you really want something that's just a little bit more laid back, then Cave Creek might be, you know, kind of what you're looking for. I will say it took me a long time to get used to it because I came from an area where everything was like a very planned community with sidewalks and stuff. And when you get into Cave Creek, you can have, you know, big houses and then like dirt trails that go back to like $1 million houses. And then next to it can be a big development. It's just very, it's very diverse and just very odd in some places. It just was like, where is the zoning here? What's the planning? It's just, it did take me a while to get used to it. Now I'm just like, well, it's Cave Creek. The other thing is, it's because you're heading up north, it sits at a higher elevation, so you will be a little bit cooler in the summer. And so, you know, 5 to 10 degrees can make a huge difference when it's 115 degrees out. So, you know, just bearing that in mind. Yes, I know it's still 105 up there, but, and it's gonna be weird I say this, but if it's 105 and no humidity, it's really not that bad. I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but it's true. Here's the cons. You don't have all of the amenities that you have closer in. Like you don't have a lot of the big shopping that's available if you live closer in. And you have some restaurants, just not a plethora of restaurants to choose from. So if that's important to you and you don't want to drive, well then maybe this isn't the best place for you to live. It's a quieter, slower pace. If that's not your thing, then this might not be a good fit for you either. Or live on the southern end of it where there's more of those planned communities like Lone Mountain Estates or Bellissima if you want a luxury home. Those might be good fits for you than, you know, being deeper into Cave Creek as a whole. The amenities and the nightlife, again, it's a smaller town. It's got, the last census quoted it like 5,000 people live up here. So it is definitely a small town feel. But if you like that, it could be perfect and might be something that you want to consider. So if you got value from this video, please make sure to press the subscribe button and press the notification bell so you know the next time I drop a video. As always, I appreciate your time. And if you have any questions about the Cave Creek area, please reach out. My contact information is at the end of the video and should be below. And I'm always here to answer your questions. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.